What's going on, guys? Welcome back to the Business Tactical Podcast. I'm your host, Julian Dioulo. I'm a Marine and an executive. Here at Business Tactical, we bridge the gap between battlefield strategy and boardroom execution. Today's guest is a dedicated public service leader, a U.S. Marine, and someone who has devoted his career to building stronger communities through infrastructure, public works, and municipal operations. He studied business management at Strayer University, and he's made a name for himself by solving complex operational challenges, developing high-performing teams, and mentoring the next generation of leaders. Beyond his career in public service, he's a basketball coach who uses sports to teach youth discipline and confidence. An avid investor, a master in the kitchen with authentic Southern and New Orleans styles cooking, and a huge fan of old-school hip-hop culture. Driven by a commitment to leave every place better than he found it, please welcome to the podcast, Jerod Roberts. You gotta love technology, man. We got it right, though. We got it right. I see you suited and booted up in the office.
Yeah, man. I just got to cover some things. That's all for this upcoming week. Yeah.
Oh man, look, working on a Sunday, man. Hey, listen, that's exactly why we having you on. We're trying to make sure we get some heavy hitters on this podcast as we're starting off, and we'll just go right into it. You know, I started this platform, Business Tactical, really so I can have guys like you train the trainer, just like we used to do in the Marine Corps. There's a bunch of dudes getting out the military who are interested in starting businesses, becoming executives, working their way up the corporate ladder. And I said, what better way to get these guys the information they need than to bring guys on the platform and talk to them, folks who have already done it at a high level. And, you know, kind of just show them, listen, it can be done. It ain't going to be easy. But here's some examples of how we did it, how we transitioned, how we were successful, the things that we did to surround ourselves with people who would, you know, bring us that success. And so we're just gonna walk through it, man. Just introduce yourself to the crowd and tell us a little bit about your background, and start from the beginning, where you grew up, where you went to school, and what made you decide to join the military. And then we'll go into life after.
I'm from Portsmouth, Virginia. Grew up in Portsmouth, kind of a rough town. Transitioned to Georgia around 11, 12, and then I finished my high school time in Augusta, Georgia, home of the Masters. Learned, pretty much played most sports that you could think of: football, basketball. Excelled in basketball, excelled in track. And went to the Marine Corps from Georgia. Joined the Marine Corps, one of those special honor grads from the Marine Corps. Yeah, I'm in Paris Island, honor grad, platoon 1004. And then I think my life started then. I won't say my life started prior to, but I'll say it started then when I went in the Marine Corps.
Hey, what's going on, guys? If you're a leader, entrepreneur, or someone who's interested in becoming dangerous and harder to kill in business and in life, hit subscribe. Every week, we're bringing you conversations with leaders who've done it. Listen, same deal, fellow honor grad. It ain't easy. You got to tell the folks, it ain't easy to become an honor grad, man. They think you just, you just get to boot camp and you're athletically gifted and all that good stuff. But no, it ain't easy to become an honor grad. You got to, from the minute you step foot on those yellow footprints, you have to impress those drill instructors. From the initial strength test, IST, all the way up to graduation. You got to be a stellar Marine. Let's go into that real quick. How was your boot camp experience, and how did you end up becoming an honor grad?
Honestly, I didn't want to be honor grad. I didn't want to be God. I didn't want to be anything. I just knew that, coming from Georgia, so home of the Cadillacs and the big bodies with the Impalas and all that. So I had this vision that I went in as what they call the partnership when you bring somebody in with you.
Yeah, the buddy program.
Me and another guy, we was in the buddy program, and he was gonna get a blue Cadillac with white seats, and I was gonna get a white Cadillac with blue seats. Like that. That was the mindset, and I didn't raise my hand for anything. I didn't want to be a leader. I just sat in the background, and my senior drill instructor, man, he was from Mount Vernon, New York. He said, he came to me one day. He was like, "Roberts, you from the streets, ain't you?" I Said, yeah, I said, I'm just doing this so I could, start my life. And he was like, well, you're gonna be the guy. And I said, I kind of don't want to be the guy. And he was like, I don't care if you want to be the guy or not. Either you be the guy or I'm gonna make you quit. Cause I could see leadership in you. And I was like, nah. So he made me the guy, and then every morning I was automatic, right? So I had to get up and anytime somebody was getting quarterback, I had to go up there with them. Right. Anytime somebody was getting taken to the pit, I had to go. I was automatic. You know what I mean? I don't know if y'all had automatics in y'all.
Oh, straight. I was God. Oh, listen. I was God. I got fired for a brief period, and then we were put back. But I'll get into that story later. But yes,
And then eventually, I sat down with the platoon. One of those nights where he was like, "Hey, man," when he was like, "Roberts, when we get up, when I say, lights, when we say reveille, I want to be up, be ready to go." So what I did was I told everybody, I said, "Look, make y'all racks with one sheet. Just make them with one sheet and sleep on top of the rack with a sheet. And then when you get up in the morning, fold that sheet up, put it in your rack. So your rack's already made. All you gotta do is tighten it up. So we start doing like small stuff to make ourselves a lot more efficient. And then my quarter deck days kind of shortened. I was an athlete, so PFT was I smoked the PFT. Classroom smoke that too. So, but it really wasn't because I wasn't the Iron Man. I wasn't the Iron Man, but it wasn't because I was the Iron Man. It was because I had a voice, and people kind of follow that voice.
it helps that you're about 6'4" too. It does help. Height matters. Yeah, no, same story, brother. But that's why I was Iron Man, because we got smoked so much, right? Every time somebody got smoked, I got smoked. So I ended up going from like 15 pull-ups to like 30 pull-ups. Man, it was crazy, bro. So on the Ironman, I remember they were critiquing pull-ups so much. So I ended up at like 23, 24 pull-ups. But I had actually did like 30. You know how one, you know how that goes on the Ironman. But I ran like a 1740. So that was great. And I did like 160 something sit-ups or something, got the Ironman. But yeah, there were cats, you know how boot camp is. There were cats running 13, 14s, and there were cats doing damn near 50 pull-ups, but you had to do all of it.
Yeah. So reason why I didn't get Iron Man is because I did 115. I think it was 115, but my 3 mile was 1714. Guy came in at 1655. He was cooking. We got down to the last, I want to say like quarter mile. We got down to the last quarter mile. He looked at me and said, "All right, Roberts, I'll see you later." And just kicked it in gear. And it was just me and him. And I was like, there's no way. I'm 6'4". I think my man was like 5'8", 5'9", but he was cooking. I mean, I couldn't catch him. So yeah, that's the reason why I didn't get the honor. I mean, the Iron Man, but I did get honor grad. So
Cats go to boot camp. They coming out of collegiate sports, all kind of craziness. But I can't. You came straight out of high school, right? You were about 17, 18.
nah. Actually, I spent a year in college. Tried to get my basketball career going. I made a mistake in college, man, and came home. Originally was going to the Army, and the Army was like, "Nah." So the Marine Corps was like, "Hey, we'll take you." And the funny story, the Marine Corps recruiter was taking me home, and I was kind of on the fence about it. And he was like, "Man, you." I kept saying, "Man, I'm gonna go back to college and try to play basketball. Go to a JUCO here, JUCO there." And we stopped at Forever 21. He said, "Hey, man, I got to drop a packet off. Just roll with me. I'll take you home in a minute." He said, we stopped at Forever 21. We walked in, and this girl, I mean, beautiful. Like, he gave her the packet, and he was like, "Oh yeah, she ship out tomorrow." And I was like, "Oh, sign me up. sign me up, man. Sign me up."
That is crazy. That is crazy.
So that is real. I came back home. I told my partner, I said, "Yo, bro, we got to go in the Marine Corps. There are women in the Marine Corps." You know what I mean? So
She probably wasn't even shipping out. Recruiters are just savvy like that. I tell you, man, I was coming, I was coming off of, track. So I'm talking to the recruiter because I was in Naval ROTC, and I was super impressed. We ran like a little mini boot camp in my high school JROTC, and Marines did the boot camp for us. So I was super impressed with the Marines. So I thought I was going to go to the Navy. But after that little mini boot camp, I started talking to the Marine recruiter. But I'm like, man, I'm a track guy, dude. I'm going to go to college, run track. He's like, we got a track team? I said, word? He's like, yeah, we got a track team, blah, blah, blah. There ain't no damn track team, dog. It's an all Marine team. It's something like that, but that's how he was able to get me. And then, you get the boot, you get the boot camp, you get to your unit, all that good stuff. You start asking them around, hey, what's up with this track team? Bro, ain't no track team. All Marines something. You get a little intramural team every now and then. We play football, but listen, the recruiters got to do what they got to do to get you in, man. I'm glad, but I'm glad they did get me in. I'm glad they got you in as well because you were a super important part of my development when I first got to Okinawa, man. So we'll get into some of those stories, man. But okay, cool. Got you in the Marine Corps. Got you in boot camp. Got you some leadership. You get out to the fleet. Where'd you go? Did you go to Okinawa? Did you go to Pendleton, Lejeune?
I went to MCT, obviously in Camp Lejeune, and then then the fleet. I went to Camp Lejeune, which I wanted to go somewhere else different, but I ended up in Lejeune because I'm from Virginia, so I could go home every weekend once I got in the fleet. You know what I'm saying? So it was kind of it was like being at home, and I kind of really didn't like it. And then Lejeune. I had some troubles at Lejeune. First, when you're a Marine, you're getting in, just trying to acclimate yourself to things, and you see a group of Marines doing this thing, and you see a group of Marines doing that thing. So,
listen, man, that's the last place I'll send a black Marine. I'll be straight up on this platform. We're gonna be straight up. The last place I would send a black Marine is Lejeune, right? And it's just because of all the pitfalls, and we all got buddies. I got a buddy right now. I talked to him the other week. He tried to be one of the biggest drug dealers in Lejeune. You know what I'm saying? Just because close proximity to home. Everybody gets paid every 1st and 15th. There are things that you can fall into in that space. And so, there's some, that's why it's important to get with a good crowd, right? And once you get to a place, I always tell folks the first people that are going to approach you are the ones that are doing something that they're not supposed to be doing.
Oh, that's facts.
That's facts. The ones who are doing what they're supposed to be doing, you got to approach them. They're too busy winning. But the dudes who are slacking off, getting in trouble, they're going to approach you like, hey, what's up, new guy? Hey, come with us. We got this party we're going to. And you always got to be careful with that because you got to go, oh, hey, why they so eager to get me in their crew? What's going on here?
You the fall guy. You're the fall guy. But I fell victim to some of that in the beginning of my career. I kind of was out late, missed the rifle range, missed the qualification on the rifle range, didn't go. And ended up going to CCU. Actually, I went to correctional custody unit. I don't know if anybody is familiar with that. When they'll know if they ever been to CCU. Is like a high elevated boot camp, right? It's a retraining of the mindset. I remember I had never been in trouble and never had an issue. And I'm telling you, I was a Lance Cooley at the time, and they took a pay. I mean, they demoted me and took half month's pay for 3 months. And then I had to go to CCU, and then I had extra duty, and plus I got an NJP. Man, I got handed to me, just from missing the rifle range quarter. But that kind of set me straight. And then thank goodness, I ended up going to Okinawa, man, when I met y'all. But yeah, man, if I'd have stayed at Lejeune, my Marine Corps career probably would have ended quick.
It's a big trap, man. And I'm glad you're telling your story and being transparent because I don't think a lot of folks know. I think they think that you get into the military and it's all good. The military, what I'll say is whatever it is that you were, it can either, triple down, not double down, triple down on what you were because now you got more exposure, right? It's not just the guys that you were with when you were at home now. Now you have more exposure. Now we're meeting folks from all the hoods of America. We're meeting folks from Chicago, New York, and everybody got their own little ways of doing things. So if you were already kind of bringing that mentality into the military, it's just so much more opportunities for you to go astray. if you don't get around the right group of people.
Yeah, man, it will enhance whoever you are. You know what I mean? Trust me, Camp Lejeune definitely will do that.
Absolutely, absolutely. So man, made it to Oki, right? We had a little crew in Okinawa, man. A lot of good brothers, man. A lot of good brothers, and I'm glad I ran into you fellas, man. You have been there already for a while, and those some good dudes, man. Tony T, shout out to Tony T, Bobby D, Brian. We shout out to all those fellas, man, who are doing amazing things in life. They're great fathers, they're great husbands, to this day. And we almost had to like raise each other, man. And a lot of guys don't understand. A lot of us are coming from backgrounds where we don't have those father figures. We don't have those big brother figures, big homie figures that are actually positive. But you guys, by the time, and it might be because of all the issues you had in Lejeune, by the time you got to Okinawa, you were about your business. Y'all were on boards. Y'all were leaders of platoons. Y'all were getting it in. Talk a little bit about that Okinawa experience.
Oki, man. When I got to Oki, I felt like it was a refreshing part of the Marine Corps. It's so strict, right? You can't do but so much. You're on an island, and I had my guy, man. He's still my guy to this day, Foster. And me and him were just, if you notice, if you remember, I was into music really heavy. I was the MC for the Eagle Globe and Anchor. I was doing all of I was opening up.
The hook and jab, baby.
Opened up for Joe over there. I opened up for DMX over there. I opened up for Beyonce with Destiny's Child back then. Yeah, I was really heavy into music in Okinawa, man. But we had a tight knit group, and they were athletes like you and Young. Y'all were always working out, and I used to look at Young and be like, man, I ain't never going in the gym like y'all. But um, and then I thought about it today, man. We had a trip to Tokyo that we will never be able to duplicate
Oh,
ever in life.
oh man. Ever in life, man. We talk about that to this day. And I went back to Tokyo with my family, man. I was able to, but it was only because of our experience. That weekend trip we took to Tokyo. When I met my wife, I was just telling her we have to get back to Tokyo, and I actually ended up with two kids born in Tokyo, man, and just an amazing experience. But that experience, the camaraderie, the fact that we were just, it almost like made us proud to be young black military members in a place like that. It was just like, man, look at this, look at this, look, the possibilities are endless. Whatever we think we can do in life, we're going to be able to do it.
It was like nine of us, right? It's like eight or nine of us. We all was on the plane.
It's like nine of us, man. You know, Ambrose, shout out to Ambrose wherever you at in the world, man. We need to find you. It's a whole bunch of us that went out there, man, and just good dudes, man. Like just changing the narrative. That's what it's all about, right? We ain't causing no trouble. We're just here to have a good time. And man, any one of these guys, if anybody was in trouble, right? We all could lean on each other, man. It was really, really a good time.
We definitely had a good time in Okinawa, man. I'll keep saying I want to go back, but haven't found the time to go back to Japan. I still play around speaking Japanese a little bit just because I don't want to lose the small stuff that I do know. You know what I mean? It was pretty cool back then. So,
and that's what we want these guys to understand. Camaraderie that we have, you don't have to lose that. We all still keep in touch. We keep in touch through social media. And one of the big things about this podcast and Business Tactical as a whole is also a social club. So we want to make sure we have events every quarter to bring guys back together. So look, we're reminiscing about Okinawa, something that happened 20 years ago. So now my job in coordinating all of this is to make sure we get every single person that was on that trip, give them, the ability to come back together so we can do something else again. We can be social, let guys know everybody's still thinking about you. We all always think about each other. We're talking about each other to our families. So we have to make sure we create a platform where we bring the crew back together.
Yeah, the camaraderie in the Marine Corps is just, my two best friends are guys I met in the Marine Corps, Chris Rice and Irvin Gaskins. I will say shout out to him because he just proposed this weekend to his girlfriend, his longtime girlfriend. But those guys I met, back in 1999, 98. And man, we've been friends since then. Like we lock and step. We go on vacation together. We hang out together. We still, that camaraderie that you build in the Marine Corps. And like I said, Foster, we still keep in contact. So yeah, those are my closest friends.
That's what it's all about, man. All right, so we did our Okinawa time. Tell me about your transition out of the military and moving into your career. I know you've done a lot of big things with a couple of Fortune 100. So talk to me about that. Talk to me about how you took what you learned in the military, some of that leadership, and transition, and how it helped you.
So it was rocky when I first got out of the military because I didn't know what I was going to do. Right. I just, I went to school, I went back to school, tried to finish my degree, and still really didn't know what I needed to do. So I took some time and I started driving the truck through the country. Wanted to know, just, is Virginia my home? Is Georgia my home? Is another place my home? So let me take a stab at that. And then I met a guy, my mentor today, he's a guy named Don Denvich. He owned a trucking company, and he let me come work for him as a manager. And I will say this, man. He told me, he said, man, if you put, I was still on the fence with the whole music thing, and then career wise, but he said, hey, listen, man, if you take as much energy that you put into this music as you do in your career, man, there's no telling where you'll be, right? And I sat down with him, and I was in school. I was getting ready to graduate with a criminal justice degree, and he made fun of me. He was like, "Hey, man, you gonna be a cop? You gonna be police? You gonna be FBI?" Like, he said, "Man, go to school, go to business." I said, "Well, it's gonna extend my time in school." And he was like, "Nah, don't worry about it. Just trust me. Go back to school for business." So I said, he said, everybody works for a business. And I said, how you figure? I said, the doctor. He said, look, the doctors and that's running the board that's running the hospital, they all business. They may have doctorates. He said a lawyer is a business person. He said everybody works for a business person. So just think about it. Everybody's a business, especially when you're in business. And then once he told me that, I went back to school, uh, got my degree, and kind of went from there. And he gave me the opportunity to be a leader of his company. And then I ended up becoming the regional manager for his company, and then went on to work for two Fortune 100 companies after that. But yeah, that's pretty much. And I've been doing what I'm doing right now. I'm in public service now, but private industry similar. I've been doing this about 20 years.
Guys don't understand that GI Bill. I heard some crazy fact that like only 33% of the military of veterans use their GI Bill to go back to school, and it's just it baffles me because I'm like, bro, this is especially that post 9/11, they are giving you a stipend, right? A monthly stipend for you to live, and they're paying the school, right? And so, I mean, we're not even going to get into all the other VA benefits that there are out there, but to the veterans out there, use your GI Bill. Don't be a dummy. It's not that hard. Just buckle down, study. I've seen guys who've written 5-paragraph orders, right? But they don't want to write a paper. It's like, listen, they had you writing 5-paragraph orders, for your grunt unit. It's the same thing, man. You write a paper, you figure out what your topic is going to be, and you break it down. So school ain't that crazy, man. Go back to school, get your degree, and if you can get with somebody who like you who found a nice mentor, do that too, and then go from there. But do not just be sitting on your laurels and thinking that the military is going to be it. Right? I had a couple of people that told me, listen, man, just being a Marine is not going to be it. Despite what the Marine Corps told you.
That is facts. That's true.
Fact.
That's true.
Despite what the military is telling you. And I had a buddy. I had the same conversation where he's an army guy. He was just like, "Bro, I was in the army. What you mean?" I was like, "That's not enough. If you couple that with a degree, and then maybe add a clearance on that, bro, you're unstoppable. But don't stop. You have to stack, and it has to be cumulative. You don't just think just one thing is going to get you where you need to get to, because you're going to be struggling. You're going to be wondering why. So take advantage of the things that we have."
I tell anybody who is about to make that transition, unlike myself, I didn't know what I was going to do when I got out. I just know, hey man, uh, this issue with 9/11 has went on. They starting to ship people out, So in my head, I'm thinking, it's getting real, and maybe I should make that transition. But I didn't know what I needed to do. So I'll tell anybody who is making the transition, man, set yourself up so when you come out into the civilian world, you are well prepared because um, learn how to interview because I see it got people come and interview with me all the time, and the first thing they say was, I'm a veteran, right? But when they come, they don't know how to properly interview or how to properly write a resume. And then even after the interview, I might say, hey, you might want to tighten up on this. Can you get a little more knowledge in this? So I would say prepare yourself. Like those TAPS classes that I kind of ducked out of, we should be taking advantage of those tap classes.
Oh,
And
absolutely.
anything that the VA or anybody offers as far as military transition. I know when I was first getting out, they had a thing called hard head helmets to hard hats, right? And it was transitioning to like the construction side of the world or whatever the case may be. But we do need to, they do need to prepare themselves, man, because I didn't know what I was gonna do when I got out, and then it's a very eye opener when you touch down and you get out here in the world, and they don't operate in the same vacuum that we do in the Marine Corps or in the military period, where things are pretty much systematic, and in the in the private sector or just even in job civilian world, it's not systematic. Everything's all over the place. So
That's how it is. You got to get creative out here, right? So, and the military kind of spoils us a little bit. It spoils us because, like you said, everything's compartmentalized. It's systematic. There's no, you already know what you're going to do. You wake up in the morning. There's a training plan. Things have already been set. We're standing on the shoulders of giants. People have already done it before us. So we're just pretty much copy and pasting. But out here, you got to be creative, and things are changing. Technology changes, the job market changes. There are people right now who are in real estate. I'm getting calls from people who they haven't sold a house in 5 months, but 10 years ago, real estate market's booming, so you got to shift. But the military is pretty much still the military, right? What worked when we were in is working now. And so what you got to tell guys, right? And that's why we got this platform is everybody who has gotten out and is successful, we've reinvented ourselves a couple of times, 3 or 4 times, right? Still keep your military background because that's our gift. But you also have to see what's working out here, what industry is going. Like your mentor told you, go into business. Business is always going to be needed. So if you went into something else, like let's say like real estate that was booming, a few years ago, okay, right now everything's shifting to IT or AI, right? Okay, well maybe I need to go ahead and get a couple of certificates. Maybe I need to get into that. Maybe I need to use AI to integrate into my business so I can be successful. But you never just sit and do the whole, hey, it worked before, it's going to work now. I had guys, I'm in, counter intel and government, and you have these regulations that get updated every few years. You have a guy who's been doing it for 20 years, and they'll go, oh, well, I've been doing it for 20 years. And I'm like, well, are you up on the new regulations? Do you know that such and such just came out? And the way you were operating 20 years ago, they don't even operate like that. So you got to keep reinventing yourself. That is the secret out here. You can't just, like I said, rest on your laurels because you're going to find yourself falling behind for sure.
that's a fact.
All right. So boom, you hit talk about some of those Fortune 100s, man. Could you mention some of those businesses that you worked for?
Yeah, I mean, so one I would say obviously is waste management. Most people, and I'm gonna say this, like one of the best companies I've ever worked for. 80, 90 some thousand employees. I went back twice. That's how I say it. So, I first was employed by them as a route manager. That's somebody who just runs the routes, waste management. They go out and they pick up all your commercial waste throughout the company. I mean, throughout the country. So your malls, your Dunkin' Donuts, your even your construction sites. So I was hired as a route manager. Then I left, and then I came to public service, and I started working in the city, and then I went back to waste management after a little stint in public service, and became a district manager. And a district manager is pretty much a small CEO of a district, because you talking, some budgets are 30-40 million dollars. And you talking about $1 billion company. And when I first started working for Waste Management, I think their stock price was like $40 a share. I think they're well into the 200s now. They are a very integral part in the waste and recycling business of our country. Um, I learned a lot from them, like how to run a business, how to manage personnel. I learned what an EBIT was, what profit sharing was, what how to make a profit. I learned that you can't cut your way to a profit. You always got to be efficient, maximize your efficiency, do the due diligence without trying to. You just cut costs first, and then see if you need to expand, that type of thing. So waste management. Matter of fact, most of the people that's in my industry today, I'm the director of public works for a city. So it, most of the people in my industry today have came from companies similar to that. Because private does it well, public doesn't do it well, but public service is a service. It is actually a calling, because most public government, local government, cities don't pay as much as you would get from a big corporation. However, the satisfaction of watching something go from its infancy to bloom into its well, let it, I mean, watch it mature. uh it's a great thing. But I cut my teeth. I will always give the credit to waste management, because they taught me, especially from a business perspective, how to run a business. I think I had like 140 employees. I had a team of 8 sales guys, and you pretty much the district was making 8 million a month. That just
Mm,
tells you, you know what I mean? That
yeah.
tells you how extensive that market is. But yeah.
If these conversations are adding value, hit subscribe so you don't miss the next one. We've got even more incredible leaders coming your way. I want to talk about that. Like, 150 employees. How different was it dealing with civilians than dealing with Marines?
Man, so one, that I'm not coming to work thing is different, man. It's different. You're not used to
Different.
that. What the Marine Corps used to say: if they wanted you to have a wife, they issue you one, right? In
Absolutely.
the civilian sector, you're dealing with 150 different personalities, 150 different backgrounds, 100 different 50 different financial people with different beliefs in how they should, do their day to day. So it is managing people is a little more difficult than what everybody wants to sit at that table and make the decisions. But managing people is one of the hardest things to do, because people are so uh I mean, they're unpredictable.
Unpredictable, man. That's the another gift that the military gives us. One, no other organization is going to put you around every single type of person. You're going to be led by every single type of person, and you're going to follow every single type of person, or you're going to be led by every single type of person, and you're going to lead every single type of person. So eventually, once you start getting a little bit of rank, and I'm talking about, all across the country, whatever color you want to name, whatever background you want to name, whatever personality type you want to name, from alpha to beta, from black, white, Asian, Hispanic, every single, all the entire spectrum. So you get out of the military, that is another gift that you have. And that's another thing that AI can't replace, those soft skills that you gain from having served.
So I will say this too, and this is a real thing. The further up you go into corporate America, especially for me, I'll say for me, and I've seen it even in the public sector. It's not a lot of, I want to say, minorities that are in powerful positions. So I had my vice president ask me one day. He said, "Hey, Jerod, why you always seem uptight when you in the room?" I said, "Because I have to adjust to the room. You don't. You will never have to adjust to the room. I
Facts.
have to check the temperature in the room and see how everybody is maneuvering, and then I have to adjust to the room." Um, and in those cases, it's a little difficult, and especially when you're sitting in a boardroom with a bunch of individuals that don't look like you and don't manage how you do and don't understand your bearing either. Because even though I'm not in the Marine Corps, I still have the same bearing, right? I still walk in, chest out, chin up, shoulders back. I
Absolutely.
still sit in. I still sit with my hands, on my knees, almost like I'm, how we used to have to sit back in the day. So the bearing is the same. So people think that if I'm in the room, I'm being uptight. I'm not. It's just something that was instilled in me, and that has not left yet.
Absolutely. You represent so much more than yourself in those settings. A lot of people don't understand. So and your I guess rope, when it comes to somebody giving you rope for mistakes, it's a shorter rope, right? So you got to be in those rooms. You have to kind of be on guard, right? And that's just how it is, right? We're going to make sure that we show up the right way, we dress the right way, we look the right way, we speak the right way, and look, it is what it is. Nobody's going to make excuses for it, right? That's just how life is, and we are going to be graded a little bit different than other people, but we're prepared for that, and you have to adjust, right? It was Semper Gumby, right? You adjust to the setting, and you do what you need to do to get through. Don't make excuses. That's another gift that the military gave us, man. And I love hearing about these different experiences, and I love showing folks that it's possible, because I think a lot of people think that there's just no way, if you don't belong in the room, or they just have their preconceived notions about it. But nobody belongs in no room, and everybody belongs in every room, right? So, we can't get tied up on how we look, our backgrounds, right? You just got to get in there and do it, and trust in your abilities to contribute to whatever room that you're in, and just walk in there with the same confidence you would walk into any room, right? And I'll tell you a quick little observation, man. A lot of guys, a lot of buddies that I have, they may be confident in one setting and not confident in another setting, right? Take, for example, all right, somebody might be a ladies' man, right? You're confident in the nightclub setting. You can speak to any woman, but you get in a boardroom setting and you pucker up. It's like, listen, take that same confidence into each setting. If you're confident in one setting, you could be confident in another, and it could be vice versa. Somebody who's great in a office or professional setting, you get them out in the nightlife, and they don't know how to speak to women or men or what have you. Listen, take that same confidence into every room. If you're confident in one setting, it's coming from somewhere. Take that same confidence wherever you go.
But I think in those analogies, one is individual and the other is in a group setting. So like some of the boards that I'm on, when you speak, everybody's watching, right? And it's being recorded, and you try to guard your words, and you try to make sure that you are knowledgeable about whatever the topic is. You in a setting where you out in the nightlife and you relaxed a little bit and you got that confidence. It's just you, right? And the rejection doesn't mean anything. But in some instances in a boardroom, or just even in a presentation, because I do presentations for council, and I will tell you, speaking in front of a city council sometimes, man, is nerve wracking, right? I'll send you a video of the last city council meeting I had. I stumbled over a lot of words. I'm pretty confident in what I was talking about and the information I was given, but the delivery sometimes wasn't up to par. So I do try to work on that. It's not just the confidence though. It's the knowledge of the material that's being delivered. So that's why I always tell people, before you walk into a room, make sure you understand what room you're walking in. Make sure you understand your audience, right? If you have an audience that's not that technical and you walk into that room and you're so technical, you're going to lose the audience. So understand your audience. That's first and foremost. My city manager, he told me that one time. He said, "Hey man, your presentation was spot on, man, but you was too technical. Know your audience. You gotta know your audience." So I learned from him and start understanding how I should approach things.
For sure, for sure. And like to your point, what it comes down to is preparation, right? So whether you are uh, in a nightlife setting and you're trying to be a ladies' man or what have you, the thing that's making you prepared is the thing that's making you confident is because you're properly prepared. You feel as if, listen, whatever scenario goes down tonight, I'm gonna go home with the prize, right? You got that. That's what it is. So it's the same thing. You walk into that conference room. Hopefully, you've done your due diligence. You're properly prepared. You studied up on the material, and you can speak confidently about whatever it is that you're trying to say. If you hold on to that, if you know you're prepared, you're going to be okay. It's just nervousness comes from thinking that you're not prepared, or maybe that you haven't put in enough hours with the subject. But it's like, hey, listen, if you have, walk in there confident, right? Even if you stumble over some things, you're not going to be 100% at anything, especially if you're first starting out. But if it shows that you've done what you needed to do to prepare for this moment, I think folks will get through. You just have to try. And then another thing is just experience. You just got to keep doing that, right? Yep. More you do it, the more comfortable you're going to get, and you got to do it. So you got to step out there. You got to take the risk. And you have to volunteer to do hard things, man. And I think that's what we have to. It's easy for us to volunteer for hard things in a military setting, but out here in the civilian world, it's the same thing. Volunteer for hard things. Get out there. Is to say, raise your hand. All right, hey man, send me to the Army for a little bit. Hey, send me to jungle warfare training. Send me to desert warfare, whatever. Right? Give me that extra duty. Give me that hard thing to do. Same thing in the civilian world, man. All right, let me take on this project. Let me lead it. Let me gather a team together. Let me see it through. Let me find a process to make this company work a little bit better. Take on those hard things. The more you do it, you get your reputation out there, and folks start bringing up your name in rooms that you're not in, right? And so I think that's what you've done everywhere you've went, because you don't run the projects that you're running, especially what they have you doing for the city. If you haven't put your name out there and people aren't saying your name in rooms that you aren't in.
So the funny thing I'm gonna say, what my son tell me. My son's a athlete, but he's a little undersized guard, and he say, "Well, Dad, you don't need confidence. You 6'4". When you 6'4", you walk in the room, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. People are gonna listen to you anyway, because 9 times out of 10, you're the tallest person in the room. But yeah, I will say one thing too. One thing that's not looked at from a business perspective is public service, man. Like public service. I know everybody wants to go work for these big, gigantic corporations, but public service allows you an ability to learn the business culture, and we do everything. You figure from engineering to construction to in anything technical, like even we have city attorneys, and so there are a plethora of things within public service that you can do, even just to get yourself to a platform. We have jobs all day long that people can actually apply for and actually start. Because I tell some of the we're a big Navy town. I live in Norfolk, so biggest naval base in the country. And guys will come in and be like, "Yo, are y'all hiring?" I'm like, "Yeah, we hiring." And they'll look at public service as it's not a big corporation, but it's local government's not going to go nowhere. It has to be. So and public service is really a calling too. So I always tell people, just look in public service. It's something that you think you've done in the Navy or in the Army or in the Marine Corps that is compatible to what we're doing here in public service. I would say apply, because one, it offers. I will say, I tell people all the time, we're not recession proof, but we are recession resistant. So You see when companies start laying off and big gigantic corporations starting to lay off and or even federal government shutdowns where people not getting paid, local government a little more resistant to that. So I tell people to look in the local government all the time.
That's perfect. I'm glad you're giving that info out there, giving that game to these folks who are, looking for a career shift, looking at things that they want to do once they transition out. And that's what I want to close out with. Could you just give some advice to someone? Maybe they're about to get out of the military. Maybe they're already out. They're looking for a career path, or they're looking for some inspiration as what to do. Or somebody who's already out. They're working their way up that corporate ladder. They're a senior manager. They're looking to get into those rooms. Maybe they don't think they have what it takes. Could you just give some words of encouragement to those folks?
We'll start with something that I had in the beginning was imposter syndrome. That's a real thing. So you need to, manage that and understand that you do belong in the room, right? A kid from Portsmouth who grew up the way I grew up, and then now I'm in that room. I know I belong in the room. The second is take advantage of any training or any leadership course or any opportunity you got to gain some kind of knowledge and to further your career. One thing that people don't do that I think is the most important that we used to do back in the day, and that's read, right? Pick up something, read it, keep your mind sharp, so that when you do have that opportunity, you know how to speak, you can articulate what you're trying to say. Get as many certifications as you possibly can. There are free certifications online. There are organizations that offer free certifications for different things, even from IT and Microsoft and all that. And I will say, do all of that work, that the easy work. That's going to put you in the room, and I guarantee you, I tell you, if you focus, it'll change your life, man. Because if you'd asked me 30 years ago, would I be doing what I'm doing today? Absolutely not. I thought I was going to be uh, Russell Simmons or somebody, you know what I mean? Leading Def Jam.
That fork in the road is real, man. That fork in the road is real. I always tell folks, man, it's almost a lot of us are jacks of all trades, masters of none. And it makes it harder to focus because folks are so talented, right? You got guys, I mean, we both know guys that are funnier than Eddie Murphy, just from the neighborhood. We know guys more talented than Jordan, right? It's something to be able to hone in on something that's going to give you a better chance of being successful. Everybody sings, everybody raps, everybody does entertainment, right? But like you said, if more of us focused on academics, right? There are more millionaires out there that are in just, C-suite, they're C-suite executives, they're investors, right? Way more than are in entertainment. There's a lot of folks who entertain, but that doesn't necessarily mean that they're making a bunch of money off entertainment. They're just kind of there. They're in these bad deals. There's more stories of that than someone who buckled down, used the talents that they had, and went a different route and became successful just by stacking wins over time, right? And so I'm not somebody to tell people don't chase their dreams. That's great. Chase your dreams, do what you need to do. But we all have a time where we hit a fork in the road, and we know that if we go one route, there's a possibility of us making it. But if we go this route, there's a higher possibility of us making it, right? It's almost guaranteed. So, hey, Jerod Roberts, brother, I appreciate your time. This was amazing, amazing advice. You got some really good stories, man. I think a podcast like this will teach some people and reach some people and let them know like anything's possible. Anybody who's sitting here listening to this thinking that because of where they come from, they can't sit in certain rooms, that is a myth. That's a lie. That's false. All it takes is you stepping up and working hard and preparing yourselves. And you can get into any room and do anything you need to. So I appreciate your time, bro. And I know we're going to have to do a part 2.
And also, I want to tell you, I appreciate you, man, for what you did for my nephew.
Oh, man. Anytime. That's family, man. Anytime. That good brother, hey, he's doing his thing now. He's off and running.
Man. He gone.
Off and running in college. I know that's right. Hey, anytime, brother. We'll talk soon. Out right now. Out. Hey guys, if you like what you heard in the last video, don't wait. Hit the link in the description and sign up for our official email list. That's your exclusive inside track to our ebook. You also get access to our training classes and access to our private social events. The link is in the description. Execute the mission, and I'll see you on the inside.